Hello, it's been fun. This was my third submission of video evidence. And so this was a little bit of a challenge in looking at making sure I incorporated all 10 design areas, or is that what we call them? And so I just wanted to make sure I was covering the last few. And so I kind of started with verbal and nonverbal behaviors, element 38, that indicate affection for students. And so I just kind of took little clips of me going, oh, sehr gut, which is very good, or wunderbar, or Germans knock in the classroom as approval, like, instead of clapping. So kind of that, or even it didn't have to be verbal. Sometimes you saw me give a thumbs up, or just in English, awesome, or stuff like that. So a lot of sehr gut, yeah, like just enthusiastic, I guess. And so it's kind of fun gathering those together to have. And maybe I'll just make myself a highlight reel for later. Give myself a pat on the back for being positive in this rough time. And then tied into that is element 39, understanding students' interests and backgrounds. And there was one clip I didn't put in there, but this student was explaining about her arm and just what was hurting, and just me listening and trying to be sympathetic, I guess. But the one that you do see is one of the video number 2 submission was dealing with students who kind of are hesitant or reluctant learner. And so this is maybe one way to help, and this is the area of building relationships, but to try to understand his background and interests. You'll see me getting kind of, I look on his desktop picture and he's got a picture of his truck, and so I'm kind of like trying to show interest of, hey, and just stuff outside of what the content was for the day. Hey, tell me about your truck, and like, so, or car, stuff like that, what he's interested in outside, to try to form that relationship and then help him out of that reluctant learner state. And then some other things I needed to cover were element 13, which was providing resources and guidance. And I guess that's one where I wasn't quite sure if I was explicit enough prior to, but then going through video evidence, I was like, oh, well, I can use that, and I can use that, and I had to kind of weed it down, like, oh, that is. So you'll see the example of the travel unit with German 2 to help them transition. They have had 1 year of language, but they still kind of need some supports, and kind of like with that English language learner background, they suggest giving sentence starters, or at least phrases and closed sentences where you can fill in a blank. And so I was like, let's use that as kind of provide them a template. They can fill in their research that they find for each of their hotel information, flight information, but in general, this is what the structure is. So that was one example. And then I guess the next area would be the conducting, practicing, and deepening lessons. Element 10, helping students examine similarities and differences. Again, that's something, I guess, I don't know. I feel like I try to do that in every lesson and just kind of make it reachable for them and achievable, and like, German's not that hard. And so like in that travel unit that I was just referring to, hotel is hotel, and like taxi is taxi. And so there's a lot of restaurant, there's a lot of borrowed words. So I tried to show similarities there. However, I do show, right now German 1 is doing a weather unit, and getting those 8th graders to kind of wrap their head around, oh, they use Celsius. So if you go ahead and say it's 80 degrees, what would that look like in Fahrenheit? Like, I don't know if you really want to put that number down. And so, I want to say it 14 degrees Celsius. That sounds so low and weird and strange. So temperature. And then one student did the wind force. And I was like, we really shouldn't use miles per hour. We should use kilometer per stunde. And that was actually one, not just similarities and differences, but later on the like hypothesis generating, and then he was testing himself, and then he's like confident, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say that it was blowing like 60 kilometers an hour. And I was like, oh yeah. So let's see, there's one more example of similarities and differences at the end is every day we do a phrase of the day. And I did a clip of the German, it's a mixed class. So there's one German 2 and one German 3 student in there. And just to show again, similarities and difference, I have some charts posted. Unfortunately, that video, the swivel didn't swivel. It stayed away off camera, basically. You could see the students, but you couldn't see the paper that was posted. But I post, if you just change like the B in haben to a V, it's have, and like change one letter and you have the word. In that phrase, it was tropfen. Change a T to a D and you get drop. So drops. So yeah, change one letter. So similarities, but yet different, but like it's so close. And then with their, what do you call it? Project on entertainment. Sorry. They do things in military time. And so I just kind of made them cognizant of, hey, we need to show that it's maybe happening around 17 or so 17 o'clock versus like 5 or p.m. And then the last area, also conducting knowledge application lessons. That was element 12. I focused on engaging students in cognitively complex tasks where they involve hypothesis generating and testing. And so, one example, as I mentioned earlier, was the temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and like, make a hypothesis. Test yourself. Do you think you really want to say what temperature, what might you come up with? And then I do that also with the phrase of the day. Like, can you make a hypothesis what this phrase might mean or apply it to your life? And then the German 2 student gave another take on it. And I was like, wow, that was really, she made it meaningful to her. And that's what I'm looking for, is that they can connect with it and use those in real life situations. So it was like, is that my word for word thing? No, but like, did she use extra thinking about it? Like, she came up with this whole new thing. And I didn't have a video of the German 1 process, but that happened also 7th hour with a German 1 student, and he got a little dark with it, but like he connected with that hollowing out the stone and having bad habits. It's steter trop, so steady drops hollow the stone. But he's like, if you do things bad over and over again, it's gonna make you a bad person. Like, and so it was like, oh, I never really thought of it that way. So just having them connect with it and getting that metacognitive process going. So I could have probably done more on that hypothesis thing. That was what I put on my paper of a weakness. But I also added, it's kind of hard to show that process in a video setting where it is a lot of internal processing going on, and I don't know what they're thinking in there. But I can set up explicit moments of a lesson to have them test a hypothesis or just use those phrases like, could you guess maybe what this, instead of me feeding it all the time, do you have any hypothesis? And test this out. What do you think? And I guess that does happen. And I hope that turned out in the video as evidence. And so finally, I would just like to say thank you for the process. And it's quite emotional, really, and that I'm reaching the end here. So thanks for watching all the video and putting this on me. My husband just actually asked, why are you even doing this? It's not like you're financially getting anything out of it. And no, but it's the process for the kids and to make it a better experience for the students. So that's why I signed up for this through the State Department anyway. And I'm going to come out better at the end, and hopefully my students are as well. So thank you very much.